The book of Exodus mirrors the book of Revelation. Anybody who has studied prophecy has probably also noticed the striking similarities between the book of Exodus and the book of Revelation in the Bible. The most notable difference appears to be the scale of the plagues. While the 10 plagues in Exodus are confined to the land of Egypt, the judgments in the book of Revelation appear to cover the whole world. This is why I believe every government on earth will eventually be under the power and authority of the beast. Otherwise, God would not pour out his wrath upon the whole earth. After I determined that the story of Elijah was an allegory of the last days church, I began to wonder about Moses and the Exodus. I knew that Israel spent 40 years in the wilderness, but that was not God's original plan. He originally planned to only have them in the wilderness for a short time before they entered the promised land. I believe he wanted them to only spend 3.5 years in the wilderness before they entered into the promised land, but they rebelled against his commandment to enter the land flowing with milk and honey. Why 3.5 years? The Exodus of Israel is a type of the end-time church. I began researching the scriptures and found the speech that Moses gave to the Israelites just before he died. Deuteronomy 1:1 These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness, in the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran, and Tophel, and Laban, and Hazeroth, and Dizahab. Deuteronomy 1:2 There are 11 days' journey from Horeb by the way of Mount Seir unto Kadesh Barnea. Deuteronomy 1:3 And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month, that Moses spake unto the children of Israel, according unto all that the Lord had given him in commandment unto them. We know that Moses spoke to the Israelites just before he died, and they entered the promised land in the 40th year and in the 11th month. If we can figure out when they left Egypt, we can find out how long they would have been in the wilderness if they had not rebelled against God's commandment to enter into the promised land. We find the answer in Moses' speech before he dies. Deuteronomy 2:14 In the space in which we came from Kadesh Barnea, until we were come over the brook Zerd, was 30 years, until all the generation of the men of war were wasted out from among the host, as the Lord swore unto them. 40 years and 11 months, 38 years, equals 2 years and 11 months. We actually know from the Bible that the Israelites were only in the wilderness for 38 years after they rebelled against God. So the time they were in the wilderness before they refused to enter the promised land must have been 2 years and 11 months. That is not 3.5 years, but then I began to wonder how long they were detained by Pharaoh before they were allowed to leave Egypt. It does not tell us in the Bible, but I did find a Rabbi Bichev, who wrote about the plagues of Egypt. Rabbi Bichev, a rabbi who lived in Spain during the 11th century, wrote that on Nisan 15, the first day of unleavened bread, God spoke to Moses from the burning bush. On Nisan 21, the 7th day of unleavened bread, Moses told his father-in-law Jethro, of his mission and left for Egypt. Near the end of the Hebrew month of Nisan, Moses went before Pharaoh and warned him to release the Jews. For the next 3 Hebrew months, Iyar, Sivan, and Tammuz, Moses instructed the elders of Israel regarding their deliverance by God. The plague of blood began in the middle of summer on the 1st of Av and lasted 7 days. A respite of 3 weeks occurred before the next plague of frogs on the 1st of Hebrew month of Elul. 1. Av 1, blood, Revelation 8:8, Revelation 11:6, Revelation 16:3-4, both Jewish temples were destroyed on the 9th of Av. 2. Elul 1, frogs, Revelation 16:13-14, Moses ascends Sinai for 40 days on the 1st of Elul. 3. Tishri 1, lice, Rosh Hashanah or Feast of Trumpets. 4. Heshvan 1, swarms of flies, the great flood begins and ends on this month. 5. Kislev 1, pestilence, the abomination of desolation is set up by the Antiochus IV on Kislev 15, 162 BCE. 6. Teves 1, boils, Revelation 16:2, Esther is made queen on Teves 1, 362 BCE. It is also the month when Hanukkah ends. 7. Shavat 1, hail and fire, Revelation 8:7, Moses convened the Jewish people on Shavat 1 and began the 37-day review of the Torah before he dies. 8. Adar 1, locusts, Revelation 9:3, Purim celebrates the destruction of Israel's enemies on Adar 15. 9. Nisan 1, darkness, Revelation 8:12, Revelation 9:2, Revelation 16:10, the month of the barley harvest. 10. Nisan 15, death of Egypt's firstborn, Passover and the exodus of Israel from Egypt. God intended that the Israelites should leave Egypt on or before the 1st of Av, but they were detained by Pharaoh. If we add 7 months of God's plagues to the 2 years and 11 months recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, we arrive at our prophetic number of 3 years and 6 months. I believe wise Christians will begin to separate themselves from the world in the summer before the Antichrist is revealed, because they will be watching for the signs of the Lord's second coming, and God's 2 witnesses will appear in the Judean wilderness. The eagle is an exciting typology in the book of Exodus. Exodus 19:4 Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Exodus 19:5 Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Exodus 19:6 And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. God said he would bear the Israelites on eagle's wings. Now let us read a verse from the book of Revelation. Revelation 12:14 And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. Revelation 12:15 And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. Revelation 12:16 And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. The woman is protected by God in the wilderness for 3.5 years from the face of the serpent. I believe the woman, the church, will actually be in the position of an eagle after the rapture, and will have a bird's eye view when the Lord returns to the Mount of Olives at his second coming. Matthew 24:27 For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Matthew 24:28 For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. After the woman, the church or God's eagles, spends 3.5 years tabernacled with God in the wilderness, she will be raptured and will be a part of the vast cloud of witnesses that make up the church. The church will witness Jesus Christ save Israel from a perfectly safe vantage point, the sky overlooking the valley of Megiddo. Isaiah 40:30 Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. Isaiah 40:31 But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, they shall mount up with wings as eagles, they shall run, and not be weary, and they shall walk, and not faint. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, they shall mount up with wings as eagles. Wait, kava, to bind together, collect, figuratively, to expect, gather, together, look, patiently, tarry, wait, for. I believe the saints of God will begin gathering together, separating themselves from the world system, and they will begin to wait on the Lord as the day of the Lord approaches. When they begin to do this, miracles will begin to occur. Psalm 105:37 He also brought them out with silver and gold, and there was none feeble among his tribes. When the Israelites left Egypt, they brought silver and gold with them and had miraculous healing and prosperity. I believe that this is the main problem with the modern church. Christians want to remain in Egypt, the world system, and still experience miraculous health and prosperity. You cannot love the world and love God at the same time. 1 John 2:15 Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. 1 John 2:16 For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. If you want to experience the power of God, you must separate yourself from the world. A Christian cannot pursue the world with all his or her might and expect to also enjoy the favor of God. You must diligently seek him if you truly want to be ready when he comes. Song 2-8 The voice of my beloved. Behold, he cometh leaping upon the mountains, skipping upon the hills. Song 2-9 My beloved is like a roe or a young hart, behold, he stands behind our wall, he looks forth at the windows, showing himself through the lattice. Song 2:10 My beloved spake, and said unto me, Rise up, my love, my fair one, and come away. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. Have a great week. Thanks.